The Seahawks are getting Jamal Adams and Rick Woolen back. The Sounders have a new crest, and the Mariners' season is over. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show. I'm your host, Mikey. And it's a sad day because this is a Seattle Sports Show where we love Seattle pro sports, right? And, unfortunately, the Mariners season is over. The day I'm recording this, it's October 1st. We just had our last official game of the regular season. We won, by the way, 1-0. So that was fun to be at. I went with my kids. It was Kids Appreciation Day. Did all the cool, fun activities that they had around the stadium. But unfortunately, the season was actually over the night before when we lost. Houston won, and the Toronto Blue Jays won, and then we were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I was really hoping that the very last game of the season that I had tickets for would end up being a game that was the deciding factor, but unfortunately, the Mariners decided that for themselves. The down the stretch, they had their destiny in their own hands, and they could not get it done. Unfortunately, some of our biggest names, Julio Rodriguez, Luis Castillo, those are your two biggest names, right? And they both faltered down the stretch here. Luis Castillo, his last two outings, in the last 10 game stretch here, was not good. Julio, the last 10 games, he said it himself, was not good. It was it was bad numbers. It was looking like that first couple of weeks of the season where people thought, oh well, he's there's fans out there that were saying, oh, he's a bum, he should be benched, and this in that first couple of weeks. That's how he looked in this last 10 game stretch. It was not good. Yeah, so Mariners season is over, and throughout the offseason we'll get into a whole lot more into the reasoning as why that is and what they need to do for next year. Right now, just kind of feeling it in the moment, that just bummed out that they're gone. There's no point in even going over how the box score of the last 10 games they lost. If they would have won one more in the last 10, it would have been okay. And again, there were situations where Castillo and Rodriguez could have, that the games fell to them, and they could have done something to get us a win in multiple different games in these last 10 games, where we received the L, but they just weren't able to get it done in those games. So that was the deciding factor. The way this roster was constructed and it's built, the way, as like I said, you've heard it said so many times, the way this team goes is how Julio goes. And if Julio is not going, the Mariners aren't going. And they were not going in the last 10 games because Julio was not going at all. So bummer to see that down the stretch. The season itself, though, it was a wild ride, right? Up and down and up and down and up and down. Still, even in this last game stretch, that ended up deciding the fact that we did not make the playoffs. we did not lose more than 4 games in a row. We lost the first 4 games of this 10-game stretch, and that was already got us down. But then, of course, they come back in and start winning after that, except for the one crucial loss here at the end. But they're winning, right? So, they don't go more than 4 losses in a row all season long. I mean, there's people that'll have you believing that this team was horrible, but the fact was that they were mid, right? I mean, that's how you get faced. A lot of this season, they spent this season at right at 500. They finally broke out in August, even got themselves the division lead there for a little bit, a couple of days there, and then unfortunately, here in the month of September, they fell back down and not did not make the playoffs. But again, all the ups and downs was, it's entertainment. You have to say that you were entertained by watching this season. You didn't watch all 162 games and be frustrated the whole time. There was obviously a lot of great moments within that. I mean, just the other day, that walk-off win that kept us alive for another night with JP. He gets he has his post-game interview. He yells LFG right into the microphone for the live crowd there as well. I mean, we were pumped up, right? I mean, that was an exciting moment, and unfortunately, that it's not just baseball. That's sports. I mean, if you've been a sports fan your whole life like me, this is part of the journey. This is how it goes. You win some, you lose some, and more often than not, you're losing them. There's only one team a year that wins a championship for any sports in any league, right? So, it again just bummed out that the season is over because it really felt like they were able to get it down the stretch here, and it felt like that this team, the way they're constructed, that they could have done damage in the playoffs once they got into the playoffs, but they didn't play it like it down the last 10 games. But we did have Wu out there, we had Bryce Miller out there, 2 rookies that were looking great most of the season, and I mean, come on, this is not how the season was expected to go, right? We have a handful, more than a handful of injuries to starting pitchers, right? Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, those were guys that were like seen as they might get some playing time this year, and they both ended up having to be regular starters in the rotation. Imagine what this team could have done if we had another like veteran starting pitcher on this team, whether that was one of the injured starters that got hurt like Robbie Ray, or if we would have traded for somebody at the deadline, right? I mean, did you hear we brought it up on this show when the trade line came and went, deadline came and went, right? The Cal Raleigh mentioned it, like, hey, the clubhouse wasn't too happy with what went on there because you traded away your closer, you brought back a couple of nice pieces, but then you didn't do anything else. You didn't go out and try to get another starting pitcher. You traded away one of your other relievers for nothing, just salary relief, right? So not any real point of doing that. And if the front office ownership would have believed in this team, they could have went out and added to this team, and maybe we'd be not talking right now about what we have to do next year and not making the playoffs. Raleigh had this to say after the game in which they lost that decided that they weren't making the playoffs. He was asked about adding to the roster, and how are you going to get over the hump of winning 90 games every year, and what would it be to add to the roster? And he said it's really important. We've got to commit to going and getting those players you see other teams going for, getting big time pitchers, getting big time hitters. We have to do that to keep up. I think we've done a great job with growing some players here and within the farm system, but sometimes you have to go out and you have to buy, and that's just the name of the game. And we'll see what happens this offseason. Hopefully, we can add some players and become a better team. And then he was asked about his thoughts on the front office. And he said, anytime you can add, you look over in the other locker room right there, they've added more than anybody else. And you saw where they're going this year. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's for sure. Going out and getting those big names, people who have done it, people who have been there, people who are leaders, people who have shown time and time again that they can be successful in this league is definitely going to help this clubhouse and help this team. Maybe help with those little things that we need. And I think those are strong, strong statements from Cal Raleigh. And like I said, I think it was just a continuation, a thread of frustration of what was done at the trade deadline. And now, because of those decisions that were made at the trade deadline, how the season ended up. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Canzone. I'm a fan of Rojas. They've been nice addition to this ball club. But imagine if they actually, instead of the moves being just trading away Seawald and bringing back those pieces and then trading away a reliever for salary relief, if they really said, hey, we know we made big mistakes in signing a couple of players this offseason that are not working out, so we're getting rid of them, trading away Seawald to get back a couple of pieces that we think will be good in this team, which they were. But in not just doing that, but then also getting another starting pitcher for this rotation to really help out, these young rookies who have never pitched this much before in their lives. There was talk here at the end of the season that they were going to go to a 6-man rotation, but then remember, another injury occurred, so that wasn't able to happen either. So, these rookies had a lot of pressure on them, and a lot of times they came up and performed, but it's tough to do for that period of time. Everybody's going to be keeping a close eye on it. I know they asked JP Crawford about Cal Raleigh's comments today, and he basically agreed. He was just, he basically agreed with what Cal said. And then Cal today said, he apologizes to, his manager and his teammates and the fans or whatever. Kind of noticed he didn't say anything about ownership, but he apologized for his comments yesterday, which he did not need to do at all because he didn't say anything wrong at all. What he said was exactly right, and in fact, like I said, I took my kids to the last game here today, and there were fans, multiple fans throughout the crowd today, and some of them were sitting pretty close to me that had signs that said Cal was right. And he absolutely was right on what he said. No need for him to apologize today. So he apologizes to, like I said, his teammates for, saying what he said. But he did say he's not going to apologize for wanting to win. And absolutely, definitely not. You do not apologize for that. And like he said, because his teammates and these fans, they deserve a World Series, and we do. We deserve a I'm not gonna say we deserve a World Series, but we deserve an effort from ownership and the front office to, put in the type of effort that would really bring us a World Series. Because this team again had talent this year, but through a couple of steps in the process of deciding on the wrong players, not spending money, not really believing in this team at the deadline when they were right there, and not doing anything that showed that they believed in them to spend more money this season. That's the we deserve better than that. We deserve we deserve owners and a front office that is going to put a better effort than that, because the players they were even when they were struggling, you could tell that they wanted to win. You could tell that they are putting in the effort to be better every day and try to win every day. And again, I don't know if that was really the effort that we were seeing from ownership and front office there. But yeah, there you go. Season's over. Bummer. We'll be covering the off season and see what they decide to do going forward. We'll keep track of all the free agents and rumors that will end up surrounding the Mariners and whatnot. So there you go. There's the Mariners. Let's go ahead and let's talk some other teams now. Let's talk some Seahawks. All right, your Seattle Seahawks. They have a Monday night football game this week against the New York Giants. There's some things we got to know about it. Of course, injuries is going to be an important thing. The most important thing is who's not injured. Jamal Adams making his return. It's been over a year since Jamal Adams has been able to play a game. He's coming back. We're going to see him in action in this new defensive scheme that we got. And we're going to see how much he adds to this defense. I can imagine how much he's going to help stuff the run, which Seattle right now is ranked third for rushing yards against. I can only imagine he's only going to help that. I can only imagine he's going to help with pressure on passing plays when he blitzes out of that nickel corner situation. I'm assuming he's not just going to be playing safety; he's going to be playing the nickel corner. If you saw in this last game, again, Devin Bush, a linebacker, was playing in the nickel corner position, right? So Jamal Adams, he can be your big nickel for sure, and come screaming down that line and hopefully put some pressure and get some sacks on some quarterbacks here the rest of the season. Reek Woolen is going to be making a return as well, so this is really exciting to get to see Woolen and Witherspoon on the field at the same time. Oh yes, I am ready for that. Two shut down corners on both sides of the field. Now, Trey Brown does have concussion, so we're going to have to see how this is going to work out. Is Witherspoon, is he going to play outside the whole time? Or because of Trey Brown being injured, one of the other backup corners, are they going to come in and they're not going to be as good as covering the nickel? So are they going to go on the outside and then Witherspoon will travel with whoever the whoever the slot receiver is for the other team, because Witherspoon can cover anybody at any position on the field. So I'm assuming that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Witherspoon, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well, covering some of those like tougher matchups that normally people would be trying to create in the middle of the field. That Witherspoon has proven that doesn't matter. He can cover. He can cover in the two games we've seen him play. We've seen him cover not linebackers. We've seen him cover tight ends phenomenally well. He's obviously covering receivers phenomenally well. So it's nice to have a piece that is that um, flexible to go all over the field, especially when we have the amount of injuries that we have right now. So, for the Giants, injury wise, Andrew Thomas, their tackle, has been ruled out. Saquon Barkley has been ruled doubtful. So it looks like he's going to be missing another game as well. Breida should be in there, and we've seen him be a good running back, but that with that on top of having also they have Daniel Bellinger, their tight end, injured. So having an injured tight end, a tackle, this offensive line, and run blockers, they're kind of beat up right now. So hopefully we'll continue this huge improvement that we've had over last year in our run defense, and again this year with in this game, I mean, with Jamal Adams back. Hopefully we're gonna get some big pressure in these games, and hopefully we're going to create a lot of turnovers. We shall see. I do like the Seahawks in this game. Anytime we get a mediocre quarterback, it kind of scares me because it always seems like we let mediocre quarterbacks play really well against us. But I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's going to be a lot different this time with two shutdown corners on both sides of the field this game. So, again, I'm hoping for a good group of turnovers in this game. And I'm looking for this offense to continue what they're doing. I think this team, not the greatest tackling team either. So the Giants, that is. So I'm expecting K9 to have a big day. This should be, he was player of the week last week. This should be another week where, he should be talked, we're hoping that with the type of performance he should be given today, that he's going to be talked about in that vein again. Like maybe he would get another player of the week because he's going to have such a good performance. Again, the weaknesses of this defense, I think K9 should really be able to take advantage of. And we've seen how well our offensive line is blocking this year. Again, you probably heard Pro Football Focus. They're dum-dums over there. They had our offensive line ranked, like, I don't know, like almost somewhere near last season, which didn't make any sense. Going into this season, they had our offensive line ranked somewhere like in the 20s, near the bottom of the league, which again, it didn't make any sense if you're actually watching what's happening on the field. This year, the way the linemen are blocking and the way K9 and Charbonnet are running, you're getting the stats, you're getting the results on the field, so everybody can clearly see that this offensive line is a good offensive line. And so, again, with this poor tackling defense that we're going against, I think we can put up big numbers rushing wise again. I mean, I'm looking for another over 150 yards total rushing again for the team. We're going to get some yards in there from K9. We'll get some from Charbonnet. We'll get some rushing from Geno Smith. I'm looking for over 150 yards. That's what's going to help us win this game. And then I'm looking again for the offense just to keep rolling. That should keep us getting some more explosive plays through the air, because the Giants are going to have to respect the run. And so I'm looking at I'm still looking for a dominant win this season. I want a dominant win. I want us to win this game. I'm thinking let's go for like a 34-10 game. Okay, for real. That's what I want. I want to see a game like that where we can come in and we roll over a team. I'll take a win anyway. If we win by 1 point, I'll take it. A win is a win. But I sure would love for this team to show how dominant they can be and put the fear in the hearts of some of our opponents coming up, because the middle of our uh what should we call it, the middle of our schedule. It's after our bye week, it's not looking like it's going to be too tough based on uh records and injuries at the teams that we have after the bye week. So put that fear in them now. Let them know that, like, we're not going to play down to your level. We are going to play up to our highest potential in every game, and when we do that, you need to fear us. So hopefully that is what they are going to do. All right, that's the Seahawks. I'm predicting 34-10. Let's go. What else do we want to talk about today? There is Mariners Seahawks. We got some Kraken stuff going on today. For the Kraken, let me pull up the Kraken stuff here so we can talk some Kraken. All right. So for the Kraken, here we go. No official captain named again this year. We have alternate captains. This is like a shared group captainship that the Kraken does. I don't even know how unique that is in the NHL. Somebody, again, if you're a big NHL fan out there, let me know. I've only been following for 2 years now, so I'm only following the Kraken. I'm not going around following the other teams and what they're doing. Is this normal? Do other teams do captains like this, or do most teams like have a designated captain, or is it rare? So Kraken, we have a group of captains that kind of share it, right? Jordan Eberle, Yanni Gord, Adam Larson, and Jaden Schwartz, they are your alternate captains again this year, all kind of sharing that duty. I'm not going to complain. Yeah, I mean, we did good last year. We made the playoffs. If it takes a groups of guys to be the voice in the locker room, hey, that's great. Do whatever you need to do to win. Preseason has started. We've had a couple of preseason games. We won against Calgary 5-3. We lost to them 3-2, and we've won against Vancouver 3-1. So, it's looking good. I gotta say, I've been really, focused on watching the Mariners game the last couple of weeks. So I did not watch these preseason games. But now baseball's officially over, so I'll be catching up with these preseason games for the Kraken now, and kind of see how the team is looking. But I mean, just from the highlights I've seen, like I said, I don't know hockey like I know other sports, so I'm not really sure, how good it actually is. But we're winning, and the highlights look good, so I'm excited for another season and hopefully another playoff season for the Kraken. But yeah, that's what's going on with the Kraken. Let's talk about what's going on with the Storm. Their season is over, but we got stuff going on with them. All right, and for the Storm, a couple of quick things that we just got to mention. The Noelle Quinn, she signs a contract extension, so she's going to be our head coach for the next number of years. I didn't see how long the extension was, so I just know that she was extended. So congrats to Noelle Quinn for getting an extension and getting to stick around with his team. And Pokey Chapman, she was promoted to associate GM. So big promotion there. Congratulations to Pokey. And another player got named to another team. Ezzy Magbagor was named to the all defensive second team. No surprise there. She was solid this year defensively. So she makes the all defensive second team. Let's see her keep improving next year and see if she can make first team next year. That's your Storm. We got another quick thing to say about the Sounders as well. Okay, and for the Sounders, we have uh trying to bring it up here. We have a new crest for the Sounders. Okay, here we go. Here it is, the Sounders. All right. They have a new crest. It's kind of the same, right? It's the same like shield that they had before with the Space Needle in it. It is newer and sleeker. The biggest change is the 1974 in there, kind of like representing that this is when the soccer club was born in 1974. And it looks good. Like I said, it looks sleek. It looks cool. I like the new green that they're using for the Sounders. And then they got a couple of our alternate ones, the Seattle Sounders with the wave going through the Sounders. There they have the Orca. They brought the Orca back for one of their alternate, and then they brought a Rose back as well with the 1974 on it. So I'm a fan. I like the new looks. They look clean. I've seen the merch for it as well. I mean, I guess if you're watching on YouTube, I can pull those up as well. You can see, yeah, the new logo. It definitely looks good on whatever merchandise. So as a fan, you like to look good, right? So good on them for making some good designs and making it look good on merch as well. So yeah, I like it. I'm a fan of what they did, and a fan that it kind of honors the history of the club. All right, so there's the crest. What else did I want to mention with them? Oh, their latest match, they ended up with the draw with Nashville 0-0, and because of that, they have not clinched a playoff spot yet. I think they're going to end up in the playoffs, but they haven't officially clinched it yet. So that's that. Let's go ahead and talk our other soccer club, the OL Reign. For the OL Reign today, unfortunately, they ended up in a draw today as well. They were winning at one point with this great corner kick from Rapinoe that went right to a wide open Balser. I do not know how North Carolina left Balser so open, but they left her open right there. And again, another header for a goal. It seems like every time I'm watching OL Reign games, Balser is getting a goal by header, right? So amazing. Unfortunately, like I said, it was a draw though, so they are barely in the playoffs right now. They got just what? Our next game is Friday. That's our last home game. Friday, October 6th. Remember, that's the last home game, so that's the game that they're going to celebrate Megan Rapinoe, so you want to be there for that if you can be there. Friday, October 6th, 5 p.m. If you can be there, because it should be a pretty fun crowd, I would bet. So we have that game, and then one more game after that, away game against Chicago on the 15th. Those are the last two games. We need them to stay in it. We are in sixth place right now. That's the cutoff for the playoffs, and we have teams. We have a team tied with us, one, but they have less points than us in total, so we get the tiebreaker, and then a couple other teams are just 1 point behind us. So I mean, we are. Oh no, I read that wrong. There are 2 points behind us, and then a couple of teams that are just 3 points behind us with the 2 games left. So either way, 2 points or 3 points. What we're very catchable right now is the point that I'm trying to make. The teams that are behind us, they are not far behind us at all. So we got to make the most of these last couple of matches. Hope, getting a win in there. Definitely don't want to get any losses in the last two. If we can get a win in there, I think that would really do us well in making sure that we clinch one of these playoff spots. And again, I would sure love to see this team make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs, and hopefully towards the championship with Megan Rapinoe being her last year here. So again, they ended up getting in a draw today. Match coming up. Megan Rapinoe's last game, so try to be there if you can. And let's get to our last little thing we need to mention here with the Sea Dragons. And nothing really to mention specifically with the Sea Dragons themselves, but what is important to know is that the XFL and USFL are merging. We do not know how this is going to affect our club at this time. Hopefully, that just means that the league is going to expand and get bigger, and it'll be even more fun to watch. I am loving spring football. I do think the XFL was better than the USFL, so combine the two, make it even better. Get more players in instead of spreading out the players who were either cut or just on the cusp or just didn't get noticed by the NFL. Put them all together instead of spreading them out in different leagues. That should make one super league that is that much better competition wise and has that much higher level of play. So hopefully that's gonna make the league just that much more fun to watch. So that's what we got going on in the XFL. Again, no clue on how this is going to affect the Sea Dragons specifically, but hopefully it just means good things that we'll get more good players coming through here. All right, and that is all I have for you today. I'm very tired. I mean, I did go to the baseball game today with 3 of my children, so that can be a very exhausting day to take a 12-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old to a baseball game. So yeah, I'm quite tired, so I'm starting to feel it here towards the end of this recording. So I'm going to hop out of here, but before I do, I would love your support by you just, if you're watching on YouTube, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast, if you hit the follow button or subscribe or whatever you need to hit on whatever podcast listener you're listening on, that'd be great. If you leave a review, even better. Share it with your friends, whether you're listening on to YouTube or on podcast. That's the best thing you can do is share and help this show and community grow. Okay, so I'd really appreciate if you do all that. And thank you again so much. This is Mikey. This has been the Seattle Sports Show. Thank you for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken and breathe fire. So take cover, because with a sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.